Welcome back, everyone. This is night 3 of Thanksgiving Food Fest. I'm Faith, the editor-in-chief of Kitchn, and tonight I am thrilled to introduce to you our third cook of the week, Alexander Smalls himself, a seminal figure in American cooking, and he has the most amazing Southern menu for you tonight. Alexander is also just such a unique person and figure in cooking. He is a James Beard Award winner. He opened the first African-American fine dining restaurant in New York, but he's also an opera singer. He's won a Grammy and a Tony. I don't know any other food writers who can claim all of those things. So he's going to walk us through tonight his vision for Thanksgiving, which is very much inspired and infused with his childhood memories and tastes that he grew up with. Cooking along with Alexander tonight is Nicole Rufus, who's an editor here at Kitchn. She's also getting her master's in food studies at NYU. And I just love this conversation that the two of them have together about food and culture and how they come together and travel to create the dishes that we know and love as part of our Thanksgiving tables. As Alexander and Nicole are cooking through this menu, they're also right here in the chat. Please hop in there, ask questions, talk about Thanksgiving. They would love to hear from you. And as always, on each of these evenings, we are so grateful for Anthro Living, Holland House, Idaho Potatoes, Ninja Foodie Smart Lid. We're so grateful for their help in bringing Alexander's menu to life tonight. And on that note, let's go. We're gonna get cooking with Alexander.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I'm the assistant food editor at Kitchn, and I'm a master's student in NYU's food studies program.
Hi, I'm Alexander Smalls, chef, restaurateur, cookbook author, former opera singer, and everyday host.
And welcome to Kitchn's Thanksgiving Food Fest.
I'm preparing a roasted turkey with a cornbread dressing, lemon candied yams, green beans with beanie seeds, a poached pear field green salad with black-eyed peas, and a bourbon pecan pie. These dishes are dishes that I grew up on. All of that comes back to life for me. It's a way of carrying on the tradition and preserving the dishes of my ancestry.
I'm gonna be watching along as Alexander cooks, asking questions as he goes. If anyone at home has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat so that Alexander can give you a response. What was Thanksgiving like for you growing up at home in South Carolina?
I loved it. The shopping, the prep work, the baking, the cooking. I was my mother's little helper.
Was your mom the big cook? She was running the show?
Oh, yes, without question. Absolutely. She ran the show for the Thanksgiving dinner, but Thanksgiving breakfast was my father's.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What did Thanksgiving breakfast entail?
It was smothered shrimp and crab meat gravy over grits, a real low-country feast. Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
My family is Nigerian, but I grew up in Dallas.
Ah,
So
I'm Nigerian too.
My cousin.
Being of Nigerian birth and growing up in Dallas, what was that like?
For us, it wasn't really so much about the fact that it was Thanksgiving. It was
Right.
really a day off. There was always either fried rice or jollof rice.
I knew you were going to mention jollof rice. Oh, my God.
Of course. We didn't really consider the larger implications of what the holiday meant. So it's really special to get older and to form my own celebrations as an adult. Yeah.
Well, you know, I really don't think many African Americans really were that much informed about the holiday, except, as you say, it was family time. It was an opportunity to celebrate each other and eat some great food. And, you know, we are always up for that.
Absolutely. I feel like in the past few years, the culinary world at large has become more receptive to the fact that a lot of America's cooking has roots in Africa. I'm wondering how that influences your cooking and even your Thanksgiving menu today.
Well, it's everything. For enslaved Africans, especially in this country, food is currency. When African American people, for example, didn't own themselves, they owned that recipe, they owned the food, and there was pride and dignity. And It is our way of ownership and expressing love and care for each other.
If any of you at home have Thanksgiving traditions or favorite family recipes, put them in the chat. We would love to hear from you guys. If you had one tip for someone who's cooking for a big crowd this Thanksgiving, what would it be?
Have the Chinese delivery on standby. No. I would say take your time, manage your time, make lists, prepare, be methodical.
All right, preparation is key, right? I heard that this dish is inspired by a song. Can you tell me which one? Oh, the chestnuts.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Are all your dishes kind of musical?
Well, I'm musical, so I think I add a musical touch to my cooking. So we're all set up. As you can see, I've got my ingredients out here. It's a very simple dish. It starts with a stick of butter.
All good dishes start with a stick of butter, I would say.
I've got some minced onion here. I've got some minced celery. We have cornbread. We have our roasted chestnuts here.
And this cornbread is a day old, right?
Yes.
And why do you use day old cornbread?
Because it's firm,
Gotcha.
you know, and so it holds up better. So let's jump over here. See, the stick of butter has melted enough that I can start putting in my vegetables to get that translucent effect. There we are. I'm gonna throw my bay leaves in here because I want them to flavor the butter. Time. And this butter is being beautifully flavored. And then we add some sage. Well, actually, I like a lot of sage. Don't tell nobody. And then I'm going to take the cornbread and put it in my bowl. And then we're putting our stock. There we go. And we're kind of going to break that up. Now, usually my mother would have used her hands.
I see.
Then we've got our eggs. And let me do them. 2 eggs, which helps to hold all this together. You know, you do like a rough beat. And then I'm going to put that in here. And then I'm going to put my chestnuts.
Lots of chestnuts.
Lots of chestnuts. There. And then I have my cracked pepper.
And do you prefer cracked pepper to freshly ground?
I love cracked pepper. You know, when it's fine, you know, it's background noise. But when it's cracked, it's present. And then kosher cracked salt. To finish this off, some nutmeg. Now we add our vegetables.
Do you think dressing is a necessary staple for the Thanksgiving table?
Oh my God, you cannot have roast turkey without dressing.
Absolutely.
You just simply can't. You know, it is like having mashed potatoes without gravy. No one would ever think to do such a thing. So, Nicole, it's turkey time. What I want to do is salt and pepper my bird and then stuff the butter under the skin.
Okay.
All right? So I think I will start with the stuffing of the butter since it's the hard part.
I see. I feel like turkey kind of gets a bad rap these days. People are always talking about how dry turkey is, and I'm just convinced they're not doing it right.
Right. Well, this is one of the ways to deal with the dry turkey. We stuff under the skin with butter, so as the turkey cooks, it bakes. And then I'm going to take the remaining butter and sort of grease up my turkey. So now the task at hand, and literally, is to get the stuffing inside the bird.
Get in there.
Okay?
And I feel like really the stuffing is what makes the turkey. Would you agree?
The stuffing is everything. And what you have to understand is that this stuffing cooks inside, and it gets all of the seasonings and juices. It's just special. Here we go. What do you think?
That looks pretty packed to me.
Yep. And look at those chestnuts. What's the song?
Chestnuts. I'm gonna let you do the singing.
And now we have a turkey we can cook. Okay, here we go. And it's preheated at 350, 375. All right, nighty-night.
So why yams for this menu?
It's a southern side dish that's very popular.
I remember growing up, going over to my African-American friends' houses, and they would be eating what I only knew as sweet potatoes, but we're calling them sweet yams. And it wasn't until much later that I realized the connection. When Africans had first arrived here, they were, obviously trying to get acquainted with the new crops, and this was the tuber that most resembled the yam. So they started calling it the sweet yam.
So they're all going in the bowl.
What's the ideal thickness for the sweet potatoes?
I like chunky yams, right? And then I cook them on a high heat so they crisp and caramelize, but still soft inside. And then I'm taking our spices and brown sugar, and that goes into the melted butter. So everything is kind of creamy. I give it a stir just to coat the potatoes. I am then going to take my lemon.
Why lemon for the candied yams?
The lemon adds zest and spice and tartness. I put in a little cayenne or red pepper flakes. There's nothing like sweet citrus and hot. And it's following the tradition of the African-American kitchen because we like spice. So we're going to pour out our mixture. Here we are. Moving on. There's more to cook.
All right, let's do it.
Do you know what beanie seeds are?
I think I might have an idea. If anyone at home is in the chat and has an idea, why don't you tell us what you think beanie seeds are?
All right, so I've got my cast iron skillet, which is a legacy to a Southern kitchen, right? So I want to put a little bit of oil in here. And then I'm going to throw in the garlic that's been minced.
Sizzle.
The sizzle
We
is
love
there.
The sizzle.
And the thyme. Here we go. And then the rosemary. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. So we've got that going. My trusty spatula here. Next, we're going to add our green beans. And we're cooking them until they turn a bright green. Want to hit that with a little salt. Also, I have cracked pepper, freshly grind. Saute these, making sure that the greens are well lubricated in the pan with the flavored oil. And then I'm going to add chicken broth. And the chicken broth is going to help tenderize the beans and soften the texture. And they add flavor.
And how did you learn how to make this dish?
Oh my goodness. Live. Traveling the world, I fell in love with wok vegetables. Vegetables that are cooked over a high heat with minimal liquid. So I adopted this dish and added the characteristics of the South and just a little extra flavor.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw this on top.
Love it.
And then, normally, at this point, add the beanie seeds.
Beanie seeds. May I?
Be my guest.
Thank you. Just tell me when.
Okay. Beanie seeds are from West Africa, and we use them in the Low Country, Charleston, Beaufort, and the Gullah Islands. But they're also considered sesame seeds in the Asian countries. That's good.
All right.
That's good. And then what we'll do is put a little touch on the dish when we put it on the table. So, Nicole, why don't you have a taste of the finished product?
I would love to.
Give that a try. It has your
right.
name on it. What does it remind you of?
It probably reminds me of the first time growing up in Texas that I realized vegetables weren't supposed to be soggy. In the South, people love to boil vegetables, but this is really the way it should be done.
Wonderful.
It's also such a quick way to prepare them.
Yes.
Delicious.
Especially since you have so many other things you have to cook. Shall we get on with it?
Let's do it.
All right.
A lot of the times people rely on, a standard kind of boring salad, and it just sits there on the table. No one really touches it. What are some of your favorite elements of this salad?
Everything you see here is my favorite element. I mean, this is a bountiful salad. This is not a salad that you could simply go, I'll skip the salad. Let me start with the onions. Well, now I'm adding the cucumbers that have been thinly sliced. And I like to use the seedless cucumbers. I like to cut them a little bit ahead of time so they dry out a little bit.
When you're putting together your Thanksgiving meal, is it important for you to add in elements like salad and green beans that are a little bit lighter?
It's important to have a balanced menu and something for everyone. I mean, I have vegetarians, I have vegans who come to eat. So I have something for everyone. And now I'm adding the legumes.
Oh, yes.
Nothing is more southern than black-eyed peas.
Absolutely.
But also West African. Yes. Black-eyed peas are a big part of the African diaspora.
Big staple.
Yes. All right, so now I have my grape tomatoes that I've halved. This is a citrus vinaigrette. I am going to put the pears in last and fold them.
And a little birdie told me that you had a pear tree growing up. Is that true?
Oh, where is that bird? Needs to be arrested. That's true. My father was very big on pear trees. And so he planted a few, and only one lived. And it would bear the biggest pears, even though the tree was so fragile. I mean, the pears would weigh the tree down.
Even more than your family could eat?
Even more than my family could eat, yes. I think before my father died, it stopped blooming. And when he passed, it went crazy.
And bloomed again?
More, but more pears than it had ever.
Wow.
Ever. It was pretty amazing. I mean, we were just looking at each other going, what's he doing?
I know, that's magical. Wow.
So, this salad is very special for me. Anytime I use pears, I think of my father and his love of them.
And this salad, do you want to dress it ahead of time? Is it something that you want to dress just before you're ready to serve?
Oh, that's a good question. This I would dress just before you serve it. And, and your friends get to see you pour the salad dressing over and toss it. In fact, sometimes I get a friend say, won't you toss this for me, please? Again, allowing them to take ownership in the meal. All right, here, I want you to try this.
Okay, gladly.
I'll join you.
This is so good. This tastes exactly like fall.
For me, it tastes like Thanksgiving.
So, Alexander, I couldn't let you do all of the cooking today and not bring a little something along, so I have a cocktail prepared for us. Usually, this is a hibiscus drink that I would make with mezcal or tequila, but since it's fall and Thanksgiving time, I figured we would do bourbon. It's just hibiscus syrup, and then we have a little bit of lime juice, some orange liqueur, and I'm personally a fan of adding a little bit of water to cocktails for balance. If anyone at home has gifts that they love to bring to a friend when they've hosted a big meal, type it in the comments, let us know. We would love to see it.
And in my house, if you're coming here, bring bourbon. It's the house drink.
You heard the man.
Can I serve you some of this?
Yes, please.
All right. I love hibiscus.
Same, and we've talked a lot about ingredients that have migrated from Africa over to the Americas, and of course, hibiscus is another one of those. So now that we have cocktails in hand, I'm gonna ask you some non-food related questions. If Thanksgiving in the South was a cocktail, what would you think it'd be?
One would be a bourbon punch. The other would be an old-fashioned.
Oh, definitely an old-fashioned.
Yeah.
How do you like your old-fashions?
I like them plentiful. I like them poured to the rim.
Okay, so it's the end of the night, you've had dessert, you've had a nightcap, your guests are lingering, but you're ready for them to go. How do you gently push them out?
Well, I start falling asleep, if you want to know the truth. And then I make the announcement. All right, guys, I'm going to bed. If you're staying, then the doors are being locked and you're spending the night. Otherwise, you got to go home.
Cheers.
Cheers to Thanksgiving.
To Thanksgiving. Oh, what a beautiful bird.
Oh my, oh my, oh my. You see how the butter is caramelizing?
Yes.
Here we are. So we are going to take my cane syrup, cayenne cinnamon spread and glaze it. As you can see here, it's kind of like a lacquered finish.
Seems like it also helps add some moisture to the turkey.
Well, I mean, it adds another layer of flavor. Voila! How is that looking?
It looks like a masterpiece.
So now we return it to the oven.
Okay.
For about 20. We want the glaze to get sticky and adhere to the skin. Okay, this looks great.
I'm excited. Now the moment we've been waiting for. Dessert.
Dessert.
What do we have going on here?
Oh my, this is a favorite. I grew up making pecan pie, and as an adult, I added the bourbon. This is creme fraiche with a little powdered sugar, okay? So what do you think?
Looks gorgeous.
Mmm.
And for crust, do you prefer butter or shortening?
A little of both.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly enough, the shortening gives you more of a tight texture, and the butter gives you the flavor, the flakiness. All right.
Okay.
Look at that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Now we're going to put a little of this on. I like pouring things. Look at that.
I'm very excited.
This one's for you.
Thank you. Dessert is kind of the last thing your guests are going to remember. What do you usually aim for in your desserts?
Memorable flavor.
I think that says it all.
It says it all. All right.
Should we give it a try?
I wish you would.
Okay. That creme fraiche is amazing. So good. So good. And you can taste the flavor from the bourbon, but it's not overpowering at all. And I think I might have to start experimenting with my pie
I
crust.
apologize for not being overpowering.
I was looking to get a little pie drunk, but it's okay.
But I love when people love my food. I love it when people get excited. I love it when I call people in and the table is decked with food that seduces you and makes you feel welcome. It invites you to eat it.
This looks incredible. I can't even believe the spread that you've put together.
And I thank you for all you did to help me get this prepared.
The pleasure was all mine, and I'm so glad that you could join us for Thanksgiving Food Fest.
If I could leave everyone with something this Thanksgiving, it would be to be generous, be kind, enjoy the time you have with people that matter, and don't allow that message to be lost in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day living.
Well, that was wonderful. It was such a thrill to be in Alexander's kitchen with him in this intimate space, watching him cook through this whole Thanksgiving menu. I mean, how often do we get to see such a renowned chef cook his way straight through Thanksgiving? As always, we're so grateful to Anthro Living Holland House, Idaho Potatoes, and Ninja Foodie Smart Lid. You must come back tomorrow night. We have TJ Lee cooking her way through a hot pot-centric Friendsgiving. It's gonna be fabulous, and I hope you'll be here. Last note, don't forget, head right over to Instagram right now where our Thanksgiving Food Fest after party is starting right at this second.